What's up, Stratego brothers? This is OuweSok with the second episode of Broken Pieces, and today I'll be looking at bombs. First, I'll be looking at setup statistics, and after that, I'll be making some random comments on how I think you should play or not play bombs. So let's get into it and have a look at the statistics of about 15,000 Stratego setups taken from Gravon, and see where usually the bombs are placed. So what we will see is that in the first row, on average, in these 15,000 setups, there are about 0.7 bombs. In the second row, there's about 1 bomb. In the third row, about 2 bombs. And in the back row, about 2.3 bombs. So you must remember that Gravon is a pretty high standard of play there, so you will find basically gold and platinum players, and therefore these statistics might be a little off when compared to playing at stratego.com versus bronze and silver players, because I think most of you know that at the lower levels there's more lottoing, more people taking great risks, and it is more profitable therefore to put bombs in your first rows. And as you level up, you will find that more and more opponents are putting their bombs more to the back of their setup rather than in the front. So therefore take these numbers with the proverbial grain of salt, and remember that these are 15,000 setups in a quite high level environment. If we look at the first row, the one that stands out is the outside position, which is quite often a bomb, much more often than on any of the other places. And at the moment we go much to the center, you will find less bombs. I think this is because people like to protect a decent piece here with 2 pieces and have a bomb here to have a nice defensive structure. And also any bomb placed in here will greatly affect your mobility on this wing, which is something that I will discuss a little later as well. So be aware that on the outside front there's a quite high percentage of bombs. And the second row, it's much more evenly divided. Not many bombs in the center, more to the wings. And yeah, that's really everything that intelligent I can say about the second row. And in the third row, you will find that these are very, very popular places to place bombs, and that's majorly because people like to place their bombs, their flags in the corner. So this and this place are very, very popular for placing bombs. The rest of the third row is quite evenly divided, except for this and this spot, where you will find significantly less bombs. If you have seen my episode about the flag, you will remember that this and this position was very unpopular to place the flag, which also implies that this and this position is much less popular to place bombs. If you remember also about the flag, that this position and this was much more popular to place the flag than this and this. But still, if you look in front of this in the second line, the bombs are relatively equal. So even though there are more flags here and here and less flags here and here, bomb percentage is more or less the same. So I found that a little surprising. I had expected more bombs here and here. So anytime the flag isn't here, this probably still is quite a popular place to place bombs. So yeah, anytime you are looking at an unmoved base of your opponent and you want to lotto or grab a piece and hope it is not a bomb, then these are really your best bets to try and grab and hopefully catch a minor piece. And after those, the two in the center. So I think that's the most relevant information we can get from setups. You find the bombs more often here and here. Watch out for this spot. And if you want to grab something, then look here, 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 and here. And expect less bombs to be in the center. Of course, if you play really high level and you find your opponents, you play the same opponents over and over again, it becomes much also very important to not be predictable and placing your bombs always in the third and fourth row is exploitable, as has been seen in a recent game between two Platinum players where Major Nelson just came in and ate half of the wing of another Platinum player and winning the game in 4 minutes. So if you play bronze or silver and every time you can play 100 games against 100 different opponents, then there's no meta between two players. And you can play the same setup really 100 times. But if you play the same opponents, you really must try and mix it up and not be predictable with where you put your bombs and any of your other pieces. And make sure you mix it up. And I think in my gold post, my gold celebration post, I already put like a rule of thumb. I think it's still a decent rule. So before playing, before making your setup, throw a dice, and if it's 1, then put 2 bombs in the first 2 rows. If it's 2 or 3, put 1 bomb in the first 2 rows, and if it's 4, 5, or 6, put all your bombs in the back rows. I think that's a decent strategy to be unpredictable and make it for your opponent harder to destroy you with a lotto. Knowing that there's still a reasonable probability that you have a bomb in your any of your first rows. So if we look at placing bombs, you will find lower players play like this. Okay, I put a bomb here, and I put a bomb here, and then the next thing they do is they place a sergeant behind the bomb with the brilliant idea to capture a miner that comes in at this bomb. Okay, so this is something that you must really try and avoid, be too predictable with pieces that you put behind bombs. You want to mix it up really. And I think one thing you should realize when you are placing bombs is, what do I want this bomb to do? What it is that you want to achieve with this bomb. If you're just going to put a bomb here and the idea is to randomly catch a piece of your opponent, and after you accomplish this, then you just consider this as another piece of lake, then there's no real reason to put a small defensive piece here to catch a miner. And you can put really anything and maybe surprise your opponent. So he finds this bomb and then you move out this kernel, and it's very likely that your opponent will completely misjudge this piece and come at it with a captain or major and to your advantage. Or maybe you can place like a scout behind here, and when this piece is found, you can move it out and scout unexpectedly a big piece that is in here, because your opponent thought that it could never be a scout because it was behind a bomb. So anytime you place your bombs, think what you want to achieve with this bomb, and if you just want to catch a piece and then be done with it, then yeah, you can vary the pieces that you place behind the bomb. A structure like this, for example, could surprise your opponent if he comes in later to eat what was behind this bomb and find out that it was another bomb. So vary it up. If you, however, use a bomb that is like part of a defensive structure, like for example, you have a captain here that is heavily guarded. For example, you have a structure like this. And this is a little different because now if this bomb is found, your opponent still cannot get to the piece behind it, because he has to get through these defenses. So in a structure like this, yeah, it is totally fine just to put a predictable sergeant behind the bomb, because for your opponent it is very hard to exploit this obvious placement. If he wants to attack this captain, he's probably going to lose material, and if he wants to double attack the captain, then he has to clean up with a miner, in which case you will catch the miner with your sergeant and then move it out to scout a piece that's attacking here on this wing. So anytime when your bomb is part of a defensive structure, yeah, okay, feel free to put the obvious sergeant behind it, and your opponent cannot do much about it. Okay, one more thing. There's are bombs that I would call like bottleneck bombs, bombs that are placed here, any of these spots, and to a lesser extent here, and here. Anytime you have a bomb here, with the idea to just randomly catch a piece, then I think you must be careful and keep that side still. So if you have like a bomb here, and you just want to catch a moving piece from your opponent, hopefully a captain or better, but at least a scout, sergeant or lieutenant, then the best strategy is just to keep this side still and wait for your opponent to attack. If you come out pouring pieces through here and this piece isn't moving, then it's quite likely that your opponent will pick up on this and not run a movable piece in here and commit it with a miner. So that defeats the purpose of this bomb. So if you have a bomb here or in any of these places and you just want to catch a piece from your opponent, then you should try and keep that side still until you have achieved this goal and your opponent has run into this bomb, and then you can be more active on this side. So yeah, I think that's all I wanted to say about bombs. I hope at least you got something out of it, and feel free to discuss this video in the forums. Bye bye.